For years, I posted a ton of videos on my YouTube channel, each one getting under 100 views. I started to think I was just never going to be able to make it on YouTube. I was studying my analytics and really trying to understand how to improve my videos, but no matter what I did, my channel never grew. That is, until I realized that the majority of the metrics in YouTube Studio are completely useless, and that you really only need to pay attention to 3 stats in your analytics, and you can pretty much completely ignore the rest. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through what those 3 analytics are, why they matter, and how you can improve them. Starting first with click-through rate. Now, in case you didn't know, if you go into a video's analytics and you click on the reach tab, it will show you this right here, your impressions click-through rate. In case you didn't know, this percentage right here is a measurement of how many people actually clicked and watched your video out of the total number of impressions your video got. An impression is when someone's recommended your video, whether it's on their homepage, in their sidebar, or even in their notifications. Now, the reason that this is so important is that it shows you how effective your packaging and your concept of your video is. If you have a strong concept that got people's interest and really built up curiosity, they'll click, which will increase your click-through rate. Ideally, you want to aim for a number over 5%, especially early on. You want that to be closer to 10% even if you can. Over time, as you get more impressions, this will come down, but if you can maintain over 5%, that's usually a good sign that your video is resonating with a lot of people. Now, the reason that this matters so much is that if you can't get viewers to click, then it doesn't matter how good your video is, because if they don't click, they don't watch. Ultimately, one of the biggest misunderstandings about YouTube is that you need to dedicate pretty much just as much time as you spent on the video towards your packaging, your title, your thumbnail, and how you position your idea. So if you're looking to increase your click-through rate, what should you actually do? It's important to understand that your click-through rate is, again, it's a few factors: your title, your thumbnail, and the concept itself. Starting with your title, you want this to be very short and very specific. Ideally, just talking about one single concept, thought, or problem. And you want it to be short and punchy, under 55 characters, even shorter if you can. Now, your thumbnail. The common misconception is that I see a lot of people who just take the same title and they put that in their thumbnail. But you want to use your thumbnail to build up that curiosity, to visualize what's coming up in the video. I recommend taking a still frame and adding elements to it, adding text that reinforces the curiosity. You never want to repeat text with the title, but ideally what you want to do is build on that and reinforce the question or the curiosity in the title of the video to get people to feel urgency to click, to solve the curiosity gap that they have. In case you've never heard of a curiosity gap, I figure I should explain that because that's one of the easiest ways to increase your click-through rate. Basically, a curiosity gap is a gap in the knowledge of the viewer, where they understand some sort of beginning point and they understand the end point, but they want to fill in the middle. So for example, the video I'm looking at here, America's Obesity Crisis Explained, there's obviously like a very big beginning point that we've all heard about this crisis. The text in the thumbnail is this normal. It's reinforcing that the end point is that this might continue to get worse, that there's a big problem here, but we don't really understand where it came from or why it exists. So filling that curiosity gap, that's why I would click on this video. If I look at a video that has a lower click-through rate from my channel, such as this video right here, which looks to be pretty similar, but is actually a lot lower performing in terms of click-through rate, really this title, America's Lottery Addiction Explained, it doesn't introduce as big of a curiosity gap. We know why people like to play the lottery, because there's a chance of winning. I didn't lean into what actually makes this topic interesting and show what's unique about this video. So as a result, people didn't feel that urgency to click. The curiosity gap wasn't strong enough. So the more you can lean into that curiosity gap, paint that with your title and thumbnail, and really reinforce the intrigue or the excitement about your concept, that's when you're going to have your click-through rate go up. Biggest key is that click-through rate measures how effectively you package your videos, and by improving your packaging, you'll see the click-through rate come up. But up next, we want to look at retention graphs. Again, coming back to our video analytics, you want to scroll down to the bottom of this page where you'll see this graph right here. Now, I'm sure you've heard a million times that you want to track your retention, but a lot of the conventional wisdom on YouTube is to look at this percentage right here, your average percentage viewed. I actually kind of have an issue with that number because as great as it is that people will watch like half your video or 40% of your video, it loses all the context of why they clicked off. So I don't even like to look at that percentage. I only like to look at the graph. Because looking at this, I can see if there's any points that people clicked off, if there's any points that lost people more than average, and where I need to improve my videos. Looking at this graph, ultimately this video does have pretty good retention. It's relatively flat, and 1 in 4 people made it to the end of this video. But I can see that the hook on this video, the first 30 seconds, lost 22% of my audience, which means that there was an additional 22% of people I could have kept around or engaged in that hook, and I can improve that hook to keep more people throughout the video. Now, this is usually a lot easier to do on videos with lower retention levels, so I can see that, for example, in this video, it looks like people skipped ahead to the next section in this part right here, so I'd probably look at why this had the drop off and why people jumped ahead. This section right here had a huge drop off of people, so I try to figure out what caused that drop off here, and again, the hook on this one is even lower than the last video where I lost almost 40% in the first 45 seconds. So I try to identify if there's any patterns I can see here and really understand what led people to click off. Ideally, what we're looking for is sections like this, where there's extended periods of flat line viewership. These sections show that people are really engaged and that they're able to follow along with the topic really well. Ideally, you want to see that the retention is flat. And then last but not least, if you see any of these spikes, a lot of the time what that means is that people went back to that section or they skipped ahead to that section because of something confusing or something boring beforehand. So here I can see there's a drop off and then a spike. It means people kind of skipped ahead from here because they were bored of whatever this is, where there was a huge drop off. But on a section like this where it correlates to a new chapter, people probably just clicked around. There's nothing really to learn from there. So what you're looking at with these retention graphs is opportunities to improve your videos. You want to see any flatline sections and understand why that was super engaging for your audience. But you also want to look at sections where there's big drop off to understand why people clicked away. This graph gives you an ability to understand your audience, what they enjoy, what they don't enjoy, and to improve your videos. And that's why I spend so much time analyzing this line. In the same way that click-through rate helps you improve your packaging, this helps you to improve the video itself. All right, let's move on to the third metric that I like to look at, which is comments. Now, this one might be a little surprising because you probably don't hear this very often, but I do really like to look at the comments on my videos as well. Because on this video, for example, here that did pretty well, you can see that there's a lot of long paragraphs and long in-depth comments on this video, which is a sign that people were not only engaging with this video and watching this video, but really thinking about the topics and the content that I was talking about. Longer comments, paragraph long comments show an engagement with the viewers, and that's something you want to see replicated in multiple videos. Whereas if I pull up a video that has lower viewership like this one that I showed you before, you can see that this video doesn't have very many long paragraph comments. In fact, most of these are one line. It's not exactly fantastic, doesn't show a lot of engagement with this video. The longer your comments are, the more in-depth they are and how much detail they go into is a sign of how much people are engaging with your content. If you get more comments that are longer, it means you're doing a good job and really engaging your audience. So aim for more of those. This one is pretty hard to track, but I'd say it's more of a pulse on the strength of your community and how well you engage them, especially if you're looking to make educational videos. The longer the comments are, it means you're starting a conversation. I recommend looking at those comments and really understanding why people are commenting and really understanding what engaged people. To do more of that in your future videos and learn what gets your audience excited. That is how you succeed on YouTube. By understanding your audience, understanding what gets them to click with your click-through rate, and most importantly, what gets them to start a conversation. That pairing of 3 metrics isn't randomly selected. These metrics are the easiest way for you to understand your audience and get a better picture of them, what they're thinking, and what they're feeling. So using these 3 in tandem will help you to make much better YouTube content for the next year. So using those 3 metrics in tandem will help you to make much better content for your audience. Now, there are a million other metrics out there, and I recommend that you don't really take those into consideration until your channel is a little bit larger, because a lot of the time that's just a distraction from what matters most, which is posting videos, getting more content out, and learning more about your audience. Every video is a rep, and the more time you spend in the depths of the analytics tab isn't helping you to make better videos. It's probably just slowing you down. So create more, post more, and use just a few high-level analytics to improve your content each time you post. Now, if you're just getting started on YouTube and you want to kickstart your growth, I have something for you. I started a community called Launchpad, which is built to help give creators at all stages the tools that they need to grow and make money through YouTube. In there, you'll unlock weekly live streams, courses, feedback on your videos, and a community of other creators. So if you want to join, check out the link down below in the description and use the code 2026 for half off your first month. I won't be doing this again ever. Now, with that said, now that you know what metrics are important to track on YouTube, here are the 8 signs your channel is about to blow up.